The sat-nav had the voice of Yoda. Of course it did. Binfire leaned forward and squinted out of the windscreen like he was looking for enemy starships.
"OK, we're free of the asteroid belt now," he said. "Let's go up to Warp 7.
The asteroid belt, what Binfire calls the M25. Binfire flicked a broken switch on the dashboard that he had labelled Warp Drive and slammed his foot on the accelerator, pushing the battered motorhome up to 70 miles per hour. He punctuated the acceleration by making the roaring sound of a TIE fighter. Kit Pelham groaned, too, but quietly, and pushed her earbuds deeper inside her ears. At a casual glance, Kit and Binfire seemed like an odd pair of friends. He, a crazed-looking man in his 50s with shaved head, cargo pants and a sleeveless T-shirt, who looked like he had tunnelled out of a Vietnamese prisoner of war camp, and she, a gawky-looking woman just turned 30 with bright orange hair, jaunty pink velvet cap, black velvet coat and tartan trousers, who looked like she'd flounced out of a Human League video. They seemed to have nothing in common, but a penchant for wearing big clumpy boots. But they were friends, and now they had become even more friends after they had solved a murder in Brighton a few years ago, culminating in an incident where they were nearly killed by a maniac who tried to blow them up with a gas cooker. It was a shared experience like that which could create a bond between the oddest of couples. Kit liked having Binfire as her best friend, as he was the only individual in the universe whose presence didn't exhaust her. As Binfire's presence exhausted everybody else in the universe, it was a bit of a paradox. Kit thought long and hard about it and concluded that as Binfire lived in his own special universe, he didn't really impinge upon hers. On this occasion, however, Binfire's universe was breaking through. She just wanted to submerge herself in back-to-back Ultravox tracks, but Binfire insisted on producing a constant stream of loud chatter and even louder sound effects. She pulled her earbuds out of her ears. "Can you stop doing that?"
"What?"
"Everything."
"Sorry, Pilgrim, I'm just a bit nervous."
"What about?" Binfire looked at her, surprised.
"Loaning my action figure to this museum, of course. It's a bit of a big moment. I don't know how to describe it. It's emotional, man, like driving your only daughter to university."
Kit harumphed. "I'm not sure what's emotional about driving your daughter to university. My parents gave me a lift to Bristol and they didn't even wait to have lunch. They were driving out of the car park before I found my room."
"OK, well, bad analogy in your case, Pilgrim, but you get what I mean. It's nerve-wracking. My hands are shaking here."
He took his hands off the wheel and showed them to Kit to demonstrate how they were shaking. "Yes, so I see. Can you put them back on the wheel, please?" Binfire looked at his hands as if he'd only just realised they belonged to him, then put them back on the steering wheel. Kit exhaled with relief. Why were they sitting in a battered motorhome hurtling up the M11 towards Lincolnshire? It had all started with the Reverend Jerome Bell. He was a bona fide vicar with his own parish, but more importantly, he was a minor celebrity in the world of action figure collectibles. He had a popular YouTube channel, The Garden of eBay, where he showed his flock his latest charity shop finds, and if they were dirty, he'd baptize them in his sink with some cotton wool and soapy water. Reverend Bell had contacted Binfire and explained that he'd been tasked with putting together a toy museum at Furley House in Lincolnshire, and he would be thrilled if Binfire would, by any chance, be kind enough to loan them his rare Vixens from the Void action figure.